Looking for a collaborative, innovative leader with experience in growing creative industries and developing equitable opportunities for the economy of the future. The Inclusive Creative Industry Director will help lead the city's recovery efforts that address the needs of Seattle's creative industry sectors, such as music, film, performing arts, nightlife, special events, emerging technologies, and more. We are looking for someone with a background in economic development, experience in the creative industries, and ability to collaboratively center the work in racial equity and social justice. Applications are due by February 23rd. For more information on the position and how to apply, email the Seattle Office of Economic Development at oed@seattle.gov.
Phil-Am Radio, servicing the Filipino and Filipino Americans all over the world. Phil-Am Radio, streaming live in the internet every Tuesday from 1 o'clock to 2:30 p.m. Seattle, USA time. We are your host, Kuya Bert Kawili, Emma Heron, and
Manny Panganiban.
Phil-Am Radio.
This is the news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
The president of Haiti says an attempt to kill him and overthrow the government has been foiled amid a dispute over when his term ends. Per BBC News, at least 23 people were arrested, including a top judge and a senior police officer. The president insisted that his term in office ends in February 2022, but opponent says it finished. Protesters took to the streets of the capital, Port-au-Prince, and other towns over his refusal to step down. There were clashes with police who responded with tear gas. Some accused authorities of kidnapping those accused of carrying out the coup. Security officials said there had been an attempted coup d'etat, and cash and weapons, including assault rifles, machine guns, and machetes, were seized as the arrests were made. After legislative elections were suspended in 2019, the president is now in his second year of ruling by decree. Even if he manages to avoid being ousted, there are likely to be further protests ahead.
And that's your news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio. This is Afternoons with Monique, recording live in Seattle, Washington, every Thursday at 1 p.m.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Monique Lee from Rainier Avenue Radio. You on Rainier Avenue. You on Afternoons with Monique, and today I have the pleasure of inviting one of my fellow Vietnamese American professional and politician in the Renton City, Kim-Khanh. Kim-Khanh, are you there?
Yeah, can you see me? Because I don't see myself. Okay, now I see myself.
Yeah, this is a new program where we introduce everybody first and then we have them on. So this is Black History Month, and I've been asked by the studio to share with our audience that we have a lineup of program for everyone to check out, and please go to rainieravenueradio.world and on the interweb and check out our lineup for this month, Black History Month. So we just had our Vietnamese New Year. There you go. I think there's a list of programs. Thank you, Dan. That's Dan Bells, our studio producer, who just popped up on the screen there, the lineup of our program for this month in celebration and honoring of Black History Month. So back to you. Kim-Khanh, you've been on my show and you've been a friend of mine for a little while, and you are a current Renton City Council, and you're running for King County Council coming up. You're also an attorney practicing law in the city of Renton and Washington State. So welcome to the show one more time. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Monique, for inviting me back. And yes, happy Lunar New Year to you. You know, I know the date has passed, but we celebrated for months and weeks.
Right.
And of course, certainly a happy Black History Month as well. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, Valentine's Day passed. This is like a big month for us, my company, and then we have Lunar New Year. Did you have a chance to celebrate with your family? What did you guys do?
The traditional, but now it's more virtual, right?
Yeah.
And so been making mantek and still making it. In fact, we have a special event tonight for our campaign at 6 p.m. with a Lunar New Year celebration over Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's just less of the temples and really no gathering, but still keeping in the spirit and celebrating our ancestors and our parents.
Well, that's great. So you know how to make mantek?
I'm not sure about no, but I can learn.
I know it's like an all-day event. It's like complicated, many steps, right?
Yes. And
if you know how to make mantung and mantek, I am impressed because I know it's a lot of steps.
Well, I'm definitely learning from my mother, but learning is the key word.
Right. Now, so Kim-Khanh had been in, so a little history about Kim-Khanh. So Kim-Khanh came to America, I believe, like when she was 6 years old, and she's Vietnamese American, and she's a fellow Washingtonian UW student, UW graduate. Did you go to law school there too?
I went to University of Dayton School of Law.
Which one is it again?
University of Dayton.
Oh, Dayton. Okay. And then you came back and practiced law for the last, 8-9 years in Washington State?
Yeah, about close to a decade. Yeah.
Right. And what type of law do you practice one more time?
Immigration and personal injury.
Okay, very cool. I know Kim-Khanh about 3 or so years ago as a part of the Vietnamese American community gathering and election process for new presidents. And we were initially part of the selecting committee, but it was hard to find a leader in the community. So Kim-Khanh stepped up, and she is now the current president of the Vietnamese American South Snohomish and Seattle.
Yes, Vietnamese American Community Seattle, Snohomish, King counties. It's a mouthful.
Right. She's the president of a large area group. It's a mouthful, but how is it going? Are you guys doing anything in that in the community?
Oh, yeah. We've been so blessed and just the community momentum with everything. And of course, with every nonprofit and business, we had to pivot because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right.
But a list of the things we've done are from, proclamation of our unity flag to community food drives serving 300 plus families, and the continuous rental assistance to community. We sponsored 3 Vietnamese families who had COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just a time when, literally they're on the ventilator, like one of the family members. So it was very, just everything. It's just pivoting. Yeah,
for sure. I know that you were elected to the council, not too long ago, but you've been on the council over a year. Can you share with our audiences your role in the city council as a city council for Renton?
Yeah. Thank you.
What you've been doing?
Yeah. And we're so used to calling you Chi.
It's a Vietnamese endearing term, folks.
Yes. And I was elected in 2019, and for the past few years, just been basically learning the actual implementation, what we learn in law school and in government class, right? So as a council, you're the legislative body of the government, which just happens to be the local government, the city of Renton. As we all know, there are 3 branches of government: the judicial, executive, and the legislative branch. So I serve with my colleagues on the legislative branch, where we actually legislate. We create laws or policy ordinances in this case that very much governs the city of Renton. So the jurisdiction, anything that goes beyond Renton, like Kent, Seattle, that's all them. It's not us. So anything with them in Renton jurisdiction.
Uh-oh, we're on mute suddenly. We got disconnected for a second without hearing you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, so I was
Yes,
just
I
saying
can.
that, yeah, as the 3 separate branches of government, we, as part of being on council, is part of the legislative branch, where we actually just create law, policy, ordinance.
Right.
And this is for local government for the city of Renton, not any other jurisdiction.
So, okay, you're fading in and out for some reason. So I heard most of it, but how about say something?
Okay.
Okay, now I can hear you. There's a slight lag in the the audio. Okay, so so legislation and you making decision. What are some of the challenges that you are working on as a city councilman woman?
Yeah, and like you're saying, there's several challenges when you're talking about issues challenges, or you're talking about structural challenges, right? Can you hear me? Because I feel like the screen pops up when you don't hear me.
It's I can hear you now, but I think there is a internet Wi-Fi kind of issue going on. So it's at time it does pop off, but I will let you know when I cannot hear you.
Okay, yeah, because it seems the internet's okay over here. So as far as I think for a lot of the communities that have not had their voice heard and have really been left out of the decision-making process, the challenges that we see are different challenges on folks oftentimes in government, right? Community. So when you talk about challenge, several they're issue-based. The structural, I think, for me is just obviously I was new to the position, but I was not new to not knowing the role and the branches. Quite clearly, I've learned that in 5th grade. But certainly, I mean, as naturalized citizen, you kind of just learn these things because you have to. It's survival. Right. Also, you had to be knowing it to naturalize, right? Right. And there's the law school process and all that process. When we talk about structure, there's just a lot of systems that have been in place and certain particular mindset and values in mind that is not always equipped for more of a multicultural community. So those systems are, I guess, learning how to work with the system, but also learning how to educate folks who are in certain position to understand the differences. Being that bridge, which has been kind of what my role had been. And of course, the challenges when we're talking about issue space is challenges that are affecting Renton specifically, like homelessness, like we talked last time, transportation. Right. Of course, with COVID, that is just the center. Yeah. Right? And those are the issues that community are talking about and wanting to have it addressed. Because if we're a government for the people, by the people, it should be addressed, right? Because representatives only representing the people, not necessarily themselves on council. Right.
So that's the challenge. But how about you share with us what was your proudest moments this past year on the council?
Well, there were many moments, and not just proud moment for myself, but I think for our communities, right? We're able to bring the community issues to front and center, and able to act on it on policy, ordinance, and a proclamation. And I think the most important, at least me, from my stance as an equity lens and how I've had lived my life and my lived experience, my professional experience, I would have to say our Renton business plan. As a council, we champion what had never happened before. It's actually called a landmark business plan by our equity and consultant person. And why is it landmark is that now we're putting in the word equity, right? We have the word equity, social justice, and especially with the wake of in the racial reckoning, right?
Black Lives Matters movement.
And so that speaks a lot. But again, it's still just words on paper until we put words into budget
Action.
allocation, then
Right.
it's another different thing. But I think that would be the proudest moment as I see for our community and council to come together to see that. Of course, certainly there was a lot of anti-Chinese Asian sentiment early on and racial profiling of our community members and marginalized communities that one of the things we were able to get passed through in Renton is that to denounce hate and bias resulting from COVID-19, right? All the stigmas that come with it. If you're
Right.
Chinese or you're Asian, you have China virus, which is not what it is.
Right.
The rhetoric that really divides our community. And in some way educating our system or our folks to understand that when we include people, it's not just to celebrate cultures. I mean, certainly we want to celebrate everyone's culture, but
Right.
actually denouncing hate and going to direct to it when,
Right.
it's not comfortable, right?
So specifically, denouncing anti-racism sentiments, are there policies in place that would, penalize actions that are that are harmful to racial equality and hurt others and kind of contribute to the overall discriminatory nature of our interaction with different communities? Are there people? Basically, I want to know if people are getting some kind of penalty if they were to, being hateful and racist toward minority community.
I think we're going into the jurisdiction of criminal law. While my role on city council is to look at ordinance and law, I know that there are codes in our Renton Municipal Code that addresses crimes, and certainly, yes, that is even before COVID. When it comes to hate crimes and at what level, whether state or federal.
Right.
And so, yes to that question. But as far as the role of council, when we see that there needs to be an update in certain crimes, then yes, we can go through that legislative body.
Right.
Well, the specific code at this point, because that's more of the criminal, my criminal law hat, I would have to put on and do the research.
Right.
But as far as the recent time, when it comes to COVID-19 hate crimes recently in Renton, there has nothing that we had changed as of yet, but certainly it's hate crimes is more of working broadly in broad jurisdiction than is just Renton.
So you're on Rainier Avenue Radio. I'm Monique Lee, host of Afternoons with Monique, and we have our producer Dan Bells behind the scene working the system for us. Thank you, Dan. I don't always acknowledge Dan behind the scene, but I do remember, and I make an effort in letting people know that shout out to our team at Rainier Avenue Radio at the midpoint of the show at this point. So today we have Kim-Khanh Van. She's a current Renton City Councilwoman. She's also the Vietnamese American community, Snohomish and South Snohomish and King County. No, Snohomish and South King County and Seattle area president. She's also a mother of two. And I've known Kim-Khanh for a few years now, working and socializing in the community. So Kim-Khanh, I know that you are a city council woman for Renton. Is there anything that you would like to share with others about your role as a councilwoman, as a mother? I will next ask you about your race, but you're on the show, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about the running of the city of Renton, what it's like being a mother with a full-time job, being an attorney, and working as a councilwoman for Renton.
Yeah, juggling all the responsibilities, which I think you also can relate to. Because, what I learned, with regardless whatever job you have, I think being a mother is the most fulfilling job, at least in this life that I have, right? Before being mother, it's different. But what I learned that's been transferable, and this is the same skill set that I think all women who are with kids would say, it's project management. You don't need to go to a project management class. And you look at, it gives me another perspective, right? Before I had the perspective of just a refugee, as public school graduate, a young professional, an attorney, really this lens of being a mother to think things differently. You have to plan out even more for the future, because you can't just, hey, we're just going to do this today. You really have to plan out. So project management, time management, but certainly civic duty, even if you're not a council member, I think, to have democracy work, we all have to participate. And as leaders, we have to participate even more, just because it's always important for us to be at the table, and oftentimes not allowed that opportunity. And so folks who are making decision on
for us,
reproductive rights, for example, or wages, working hours, are not us. It's people who don't have that lens. And so it's important for us to be there. And for city council, the role is really to, speak and held to this, like you speak your values, but it's not it's your community values and the issues is there, and addressing those challenges, like really working and addressing it. Because we know society we change every day. So we can't use an archaic system and look at issues that were several years ago, when the issues is happening now is people are going to get kicked out of their house if they don't have the rent payment, right? If they don't have food on the table. So we really need to look at what's happening now. And that really, the role of being a mother really helped me. But I'm not saying that you have to be a mother to understand that. But I think that it's important. It's one of the many hats that I have. I think that's the most important.
So I also know that you are running for the for King County Council candidacy, and you are announcing your candidacy fairly early at this point. Have you received much support and endorsement? What have you been doing? Share with us who endorsed you so far, who's supporting you, who's helping you. Thank you so much for the question. As you know, we launched in December. And we know that it's a seat that is very important for our community to have a voice, right? And we've gotten great momentum. Our community showed up, raised, over 90K, and just really, this is from community members. And the issues that folks are bringing to the table, like as we're listening from South Bellevue to all the way to Enumclaw, because that's District 9, there are just so many people that have been left behind, from our rural community or unincorporated areas. There's different issues, and you're talking about suburb issues, our working moms, working guardians. You're looking at folks, from professional to working, it's just phenomenal. So great support. Our endorsers have been very generous, like former King County Councilmember Larry Gossett, State Treasurer Mike Pelliciotti, Senators Lisa Wellman, Mona Das, Joe Nguyen, Representative Milin Tai, Sharon Tomiko Santos, Deborah Entenman, Steve Berquist, our city council members, Satwinder Kaur, Christiana De Leon from Black Diamond, because we go all the way to Black Diamond and Enumclaw. So it is a great support. Right. That is a big jurisdiction that you are encompassing and that you're running for. What makes you most qualified to represent District 9 comparing to your opponents?
That's an awesome question. I think we all come with certain lived experience and professional experience. I have to say that my lived experience, professional experience, working with different communities, diverse communities. The lens I look at from refugee, being a mother, an immigration attorney, a small business owner, right? We don't have anyone there. We have, pro-choice. You're looking at folks who really want to be heard that have not been heard. And then I have the experience of making tough calls on councils to protect those who are unhoused and making sure that we're working with folks who have differing opinions. Like I work with the chamber, I work with our grassroots nonprofit organization. You really need to have a leader that bring people together. Even if we don't agree, like how the Vietnamese community is. We got our elders who are very conservative, right? Folks who are very progressive. Yeah. But we can work together to make it better for our kids, to make it better for our neighbors. And that you've seen that through my track record, and that it's important to have voices from unincorporated areas because they've been left behind. And you know how it is to be marginalized, like when we come to the U.S. and the whole resettlement process. I think the lens that people look at, they don't see it thoroughly because they have not had those experiences. But even if they don't, the taking initiative, and I'm that leader, is that I will do the research, I will connect with the community, even if there is issues that we need to address that is uncomfortable.
Well, Kim-Khanh, it has been tested in our community, and we have a I would say a pretty good size thriving Vietnamese community, Vietnamese American community in Seattle, King County, and Washington State. And to work with that group, there are so many opinions, and everybody especially the elderly, they're very opinionated. So that's a little backdrop on the history of how Kim-Khanh has and I sometimes have to deal with, is that we are the younger generation, and we have differing opinions, and oftentimes we would clash. And so to have that experience, and then now you're in the Renton City Council, I'm sure you have challenges and lessons there. But running for King County Council, wow, this is going to be an important step for representation to bring a new voice to that group. And, marginalized voices. Yes, earlier you said, it's important to have our voice, a seat at the table. And I do feel like our community, the Asian, Vietnamese, or the minority, marginalized community, we need to be heard. And you are a great representative of those voices, those unheard or often marginalized and quieted voices, has a chance to share their position. So thank you for running, and thank you for doing everything that you've done despite a very busy life with, wearing so many hats, a mother, a professional, helping a leader in the Vietnamese American community, and representing the Renton City Council. So now you are running, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck in this race. So that, folks, thank you for coming on our show. You're on Rainier Avenue Radio, and this is Afternoons with Monique. Kim-Khanh Van, thank you for coming and joining us today.
Thank you.
All right.